report released this afternoon by the Electoral Commission. It's for the second quarter on political party funding. In other words, which parties did declare donations above 100,000 rand? Who did they get the money from? Some of the donations are very interesting when you look at the total. So, for example, this is just before the local election, by the way. The ANC got 22,619,969 rand. That's what they've declared. These are donations above 100,000 rand. The Democratic Alliance, 16,867,007 rand and 43 cents. Then the Action SA got over 16 million. They got 16,923,382 rand. Several of the smaller parties also coming clean with some of the donations they've received of over 100,000 rand. George Mahlangu is the Deputy Chief Electoral Officer for Political Party Funding at the Electoral Commission. Mr. Mahlangu, good afternoon to you and thank you for your time. What we first see, and it's really quite stark, is how much money is now being donated to our parties, or should I say how much money is being declared to you. It's a big increase from the first time we did this in the first quarter.
Good afternoon, Stephen, and good afternoon to your viewers at home. Yes, Stephen, we are statutorily required to publish these donations on quarterly basis. We did so in the first quarter, and we are pleased to present, the second quarter. There is an increase compared to the previous quarter. The previous quarter, we saw a donations declared to the tune of about 30 million. Now we have seen the amount increasing to 56 million, which is just below 90% increase from the previous quarter.
There's also an increase in the parties which are making these reports, and I think there are probably two reasons for that. One is some people are just getting used to it. I think the AIM, if I remember correctly, actually sort of declared late because they sort of missed the deadline for the first quarter. But secondly, there was a local election. You would expect parties to get more money during a local election.
Yes, you're correct, Stephen. It is expected that towards the preparation of the local government elections, parties would require more resources so that they would prepare for to campaign for the elections. So yes, we have seen 3 additional parties that have come forward. So AIM is one of them, ACDP is the second party, and Good is the third party that has disclosed and declared its donations in Q2.
22 million rand for the ANC, nearly 17 million rand for the DA, nearly 17 million rand for Action SA. Are you surprised at the amounts?
Look, I can't say we're surprised or not, because as a commission, we do not, set targets of a certain amount that must be donated by the donors and declared by the political parties. So what we do as the commission, as provided for in the legislation, amounts that are declared with us, we publish those amounts, to the public so that they can know who has donated to political parties.
Where's the money coming from? I mean, in some cases it seems individuals, quite rich individuals perhaps.
Yes, it's a mixed bag. There are foreign donors, there are individuals, and there's corporate. And in terms of the legislation, you would see in our report somewhere we reflect that it's not it's not applicable that an individual must disclose. However, certain individuals decided to disclose, their names. Otherwise, they are not obliged to submit certain forms to us. However, the public or the society shouldn't worry, because the political party is obliged to disclose who did they receive the donations from. So the individual may not, but the political party is obliged to disclose the name of the donor.
Do you believe that this process is going to embed itself? People are going to get used to doing it. Parties are going to get used to do it. You're going to start to see more and more parties declaring what they get. It's one thing to just say this is the law, but it still takes people a little time to get used to it. If you change the speed limits, people still speed for a little while afterwards.
Look, this is a new legislation only implemented on the 1st of April 2021. But I must say we are impressed, and we have seen some improvement in terms of compliance. compared to Q1. So political parties, submitted the documents on time. We didn't make a lot of follow-ups this time. So somehow that gives us, some comfort that political parties are getting used to what is required by the legislation from themselves.
I must ask you a little bit about enforcement, Mr. Mahlangu. Some parties, as I understand it, have said they got no donations above 100,000 rand. That's the threshold. And yet they may have run big campaigns. I won't mention any names at this stage, but they might have run big campaigns during the local elections. Do you have the power to investigate, when people make claims? At least one political party's made a claim against another political party over this. Do you have the power to investigate that kind of thing, or not really?
Yes, the legislation grants us some power to investigate on condition that there is a complaint that has been laid with the Commission. So once the complaint has been laid with the Commission, and if the Chief Electoral Officer is of the opinion that there is prima facie substance to the complaint, then we will investigate. But we can't, manage and administer the legislation by suspicion that we saw a big billboard or we saw a big rally or something of that nature. So we will only investigate on condition that there is a complaint that has been laid with the Commission and there is prima facie evidence to that effect. Secondly, Stephen, the Section 12 of this legislation provides for the appointment of registered and practicing auditors by the political parties, meaning that what they may not disclose now, at the end of the financial year, they have to prepare financial statements that will cover all these quarters. So meaning that it will be the 12 months from the 1st of April to the 31st of March of the following year. So those appointed independent auditors will have to look at as to whether were there any donations that are above the threshold of 100,000 from a single source and below 15 million per annum that were supposed to be disclosed and declared by the political parties. Then there will be a finding if there is something of that nature. For now, we will await, the audit to be concluded by the appointed auditors at the end of the financial year.
So, Mr. Mahlangu, is the IEC investigating any complaints from one political party against another at this stage, or anyone against a political party about funding? Are there any open complaints?
Look, we did receive correspondence from one of the political parties complaining about another political party. However, there was no prima facie evidence that was brought to our attention. And we responded back to the political party that we can only institute an investigation once there is evidence that suggests that, yes, there was a donation that was above the threshold and it was not disclosed to us.
I do appreciate the time. George Mahlangu, the Deputy Chief Electoral Officer for Political Party Funding at the Electoral Commission, the IEC. Thanks very much indeed. We'll chat again next quarter, I have no doubt.